Hey guys, how you doing? Tom, and I'm back. Yeah, in this one, I wanted to just talk about. I think some guys that are coming here maybe for the first time and they're wondering like, oh, how much money should I bring and stuff like that. And I've done some previous videos on that. And there's probably some other questions you might have, just basic questions about, hey, like where should I change money, like when I arrive and stuff like that, right? Or you might be thinking, oh, should I change money at my bank in the U.S., like even before I come, or right, what to do, because you're coming here, and I tell you what, if you're coming here to live, especially, and you've got like a lot of luggage, like check bags, maximum, and carry bags, everything's like you got like maximum bags, and you're probably like, man, I don't want to like, I'm not gonna lug all this stuff up to go up to the second floor of the airport at Manila or whatever to change money, which is not a bad place to change money, by the way. I mean, you get the rate, you get the actual exchange rate and stuff, and but yeah, they're going to give you like 1,000 pesos. I mean, you could try to ask them for a couple 500s or whatever, but I mean, for the most part, a lot of times they're going to give you the big bills because it's just easier for them. But you can always try when you're dealing with a human being instead of like just using your Schwab card or whatever in an ATM. You don't have a choice with an ATM. And most ATMs here, they're just going to crank out 1,000 peso bills. There are some that will give you like maybe like let's say you get 10,000 pesos, right? Because that seems to be the maximum on all the ATMs that I've used around here in Manila. And I've used like 4 or 5 different banks, Philippine bank ATMs, right, with the same card. It's always 10,000 peso limit. So, and it wasn't like that before the pandemic. So I don't know if that's like a Schwab thing or an American bank debit card thing, or if that's a Philippine bank ATM thing. You know what I mean? Like they just don't want to give you too much money at one time. You can get more than that even in the same day, right? Like I can go to the ATM and get 10,000 pesos out. 2 hours later, I can go to the same ATM if I wanted to, even the same ATM, and get another 10,000. They just won't give you more than 10,000 at one time, at one use. So anyway, so that's if you but when you're my point is when you're using those machines, you don't have it. They don't ask you, well, what kind of bills would you like, sir. But some of them will give you like 500s. They'll give you like maybe 2,000 in 500s, like 4 or 500s at the end. Like 8 1,000s and then maybe $400 or $500 bills or 500 peso bills. But other one, the other day I used one and it was like 9 1,000s and then 1 5 and 5 1s. I think that's the first time I got ones. I got 100 peso notes from an ATM. So that was interesting. That was kind of cool. I wish they all did that. Like it's always nice to have smaller bills. You know what I mean? Even in Manila, like it's always nice to have, you always try and when you go to the grocery store, even if you've got exact money, just give them 1,000. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, in Manila here, I'm not talking about some small city or whatever where maybe they don't have a lot of change. But here, they're going to have change. I mean, sometimes they'll say, "Oh, you got a 20 pesos on yours," to make it even or whatever. Like, so it's easier for them to give you the change back in a solid number, instead of like 480. If you give me 20, I'll give you 500, type thing. They do that sometimes, or they'll ask. But if you don't, you don't. Like I'm sorry, I don't. They'll give you a change here, in Manila. But anyway, but you might be thinking again, like, okay, when you're in that situation, what would you do, right? Well, here's an option, right? Most of the time, I mean, I know there are some direct flights, like I think from LA to Cebu and possibly Manila. So then, yeah, you would either have to get the money, you could try getting it in LA, at the airport, maybe. I don't know. But I'll tell you what, what I was gonna say is most guys that fly into the Philippines from Western countries, they're stopping at least one other airport before they get here. like another country or whatever. And I know when I came here most recently, and I went through Qatar, and Qatar Airlines in the country Qatar, I had an 8-hour layover. Well, I was walking around, and it's a nice airport over there, by the way, and it's big, and it's pretty nice and everything. But you're walking around a lot, and then I was able to change some money. You know what I mean? Because I thought when I get there, man, I don't want to have to with all these bags, because I had more bags than I would usually have just visiting. I was coming here to live. So I was like, I don't want to deal with that. So I got just a couple $100. I think maybe I don't know, $200 or $300 worth of money, worth of pesos at the Qatar airport. Now, was the exchange rate good? Hell no, it sucked. But you know what? For $300, yeah, okay, you might be getting 2 pesos less per dollar or maybe 3 pesos less per dollar, or whatever it is. But it's like, hey man, like it saves you a lot of trouble, you know. And if you're only doing a couple $100, it's not that much of a hit to you. And it just makes all the difference because then you don't have to worry about it. Like, hey, I'm just going to get my bags and then I'll go and get a taxi and I'm good to go. And I got plenty for that. The taxi's not going to be anywhere near that. And I think I wanted to touch on that too, right? Like, I would recommend just using the metered yellow taxis, okay, from the Manila airport. All right. There is white taxis also, which are iffy. Those are the ones where, yeah, you might get a good guy, from the airport, but then you also could get some guy that's like, oh, let me turn the meter off, and then oh, we'll do it for this much, and they'll charge you more than maybe what it's actually going to cost. The yellow meter guys, they don't screw around, because they can't, you know what I mean? And like the employees that work that lane from the airport and everything, they give you a receipt before you get into the taxi, and they have like the taxi's information, you know what I mean? And then they give you the taxi's information and all that. So it's kind of like there's some slight documentation there. It's not just some guy can just take advantage of you or whatever. Um, so I would recommend that. And whatever you do, man, if you decide to use a white taxi or something, all right, but don't do this. Do not use one of those private taxi services from the airport. I mean, I got the first 2 times I went to the Philippines, right? Way back in like 15, and then I think the end of 15, and I think I went the beginning of 18. And this company or this guy from this company was, because he saw that I'm kind of looking around. I got my bags. I'm kind of disoriented. I just got off of a humongously long flight. So you're just like, in Manila Airport is it's sort of disconcerting sometimes. Like when you walk outside from the baggage claim, you could be a little like thrown off. Like even if you've been there, like even my second time, I was still like confused. I mean, I couldn't remember. I was like, where the hell's this or where's that? And then these guys see that and they just, man, they swarm on you. Like not usually it's just one or two of them or whatever. And I don't know if they still do that now or if they have to keep their distance from across the street. They can't come up to you anymore. I'm not sure what the rules are now, but back then, 4 to 6 years ago or 7 years ago, they could to come up to you. You know what I mean? Especially if you're like roaming around. You're roaming away from the where you just came out of, and you're kind of like now you're fair game, so to speak. And this guy, I mean, and it's funny. The first time, we sort of caught on, right? And we didn't let him, didn't let him, didn't didn't use him. Let's put it that way. But the second time, I wound up, like I said, and I don't want to get into it. And it wasn't with Amy either. It was like it was before I met Amy. But it just didn't. We wound up, using them, and of course it was like for a ride that was maybe not even 30 minutes from the airport, maybe 25 minutes, let's say, which would have at that time 4 years ago or whatever, would have been like a 200 peso ride, okay, maybe 250. This this guy, it was a van, you know, and we wound up paying like $17. Now, just so you know, 200, 250 at that time is like $4 to $5. This guy charged me like almost four times that, okay, for the same ride and everything, the same, um, so it was a big rip off. But what was funny is I paid him. I didn't have any pesos. They had a money changer at the hotel. Also, some hotels do have money changers in Manila, like in the lobby. Like you could use them, which is kind of nice. I mean, if you had to. Um, but so I wound up paying like whatever it was, like $18 or something like that. But it was small bills, and it's not very easy to break or to exchange small U.S. dollars that aren't in a perfect condition, like 10, 5, 3 ones, for example, 4 ones. So when I look back on it, I'm thinking, I hope that bastard didn't, couldn't, had to go to like 6 places before they would change the money. You know what I mean? Because I just felt so ripped off. Like I look back and I think, yeah, maybe he was able to, maybe he had a big pain in the ass for him to change that money. You know. But yeah, so don't use those private taxis or whatever. Stay away from them. Just use. You go into your hotel, especially if you're going to Pasay from Manila. Anywhere in Pasay, man, it's like a 30-minute ride. And even if they use the Skyway, it's such a short ride. Like there's one toll, but it's not like the full. You're not going to pay 300 pesos. That's not the full length of the Skyway. That's just boom, getting on, getting off. It's pretty cheap. It's like 40. Like that segment is I don't know what it is, but it's like I think it's less than it's like 80 pesos. You understand for that segment of the Skyway. But it's fast. Like and if there is traffic, it will save you time. Because it's not that far. Um, so anyway, that's some advice there. So you could use your layover airport. Like I said, that's one option to change your money. Just enough for a couple $100, U.S. $200-300 at the most. Just do that. Just to get once you get situated in your hotel and everything, and the next day or two, a couple days later, when you're almost out of money or whatever, then you can go to like a money changer, at SM or something, right? Or even in your hotel. Like I said, if your hotel has that service, and it's a pretty good exchange rate, use it. If they don't, go to SM. SM grocery stores have like in that section, that counter section when you first walk in, where people pay their bills and all that. They also change money. They have Western Union there too. If you send yourself money, Western Union, same desk you can use, or the same area. Also, the SM department store has a money changer, and in my experience, the one time I used them recently, after I got here recently, they changed small bills, man. I had like $70, 20s, a 10, a 5, whatever, and they changed it. No questions asked. So, and I know everyone's going to tell you, oh, it's got to be perfect $100 bills, and that's mostly the case. Like if you go to a regular money changer, like the standard ones, yeah, you are going to want to have crisp $100 bills. But I'm just telling you, in a crunch, if you come here and you're like, oh man, I'm not going to go back to the U.S. for a long time, and I got like $60 here that's going to be wasted, go to the SM department store. And you can check with them first. You can go to the person, the customer service, and say, hey, can I change these here? And make sure before you wait in the line, because there might be 10 people in the line. But yeah, so that's and then now again, if you have like a Schwab or a Fidelity card, you can just use an ATM, man, at the airport. Whether it's the Manila airport, well, yeah, well, that would be the thing. You may as well just use an ATM at the Manila airport. basically, right? Because if you go, you're not going to be able to get pesos, Philippine pesos, from from Taiwan airport or something, or Qatar, Um, so you'd have to wait till you got to Manila or Cebu if you're coming into Cebu directly from the U.S. Um, but you definitely want to have those pesos. You know what I mean? Like if you can help it. Now, if you're coming here for 3 weeks and you got like one sort of like carry-on bag that's not crazy big, and then maybe a smaller sort of under the seat bag, and that's all you got, then you could just go. You don't have to get your check-in bag. In other words, once you get off that plane, man, you're good to go, and you'll save time by not having to go to baggage claim. But during that time saving, you could just go up and get money at the changer. Because you can get like $1,000 worth, man. You know what I mean. Then you wouldn't have to worry about it for a while. You know, you know what I mean. You'd be good for at least a week or whatever. Or depending on how you spend your money. So anyway, guys, once again, I've talked a bit. So until next time, and I appreciate you guys, liking, commenting, subscribing. I really do. I noticed a lot of comments lately, and they're good, so I really appreciate it, you know, because I'm just trying to give you some information here. I've been here several times, and now I'm living here. So basically, this is my sixth time traveling here, and then I'm staying here. The other 5 times I was visiting for 25 days each time or whatever, right? So since, like I said, since the end of 2015, that's my experience. So I've been coming here for 7 years. So guys, have a great upcoming holiday, although I probably will be doing other videos before the holiday, you know. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Have a great day.